Okay, I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners on March 31st, 2021. And Commissioner Givens and I are here, so we have a quorum. And we'll start the meeting with Commissioner Givens reading our public statement.
Good morning. We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC.
Thank you. On Monday, Monroe County experienced a terrible tragedy when Deputy Sheriff James Davis was killed while responding to a personal injury accident. Deputy Davis had been with the Sheriff's Department since 2018. He was very proud to be a deputy and was dedicated to his work. People often commented on how pleasant he was to work with. Deputy Davis was from England, which is why we were displaying a Union Jack before our meeting started. He is survived by his wife and 3 children, and we offer them our greatest sympathy at this very difficult time. Donations may be made in his name to the Indiana Fallen Heroes Foundation, Inc. at 1710 South 10th Street, Noblesville, Indiana, 46060. And I believe that address will be on our website. Donations may also be made at any branch of Old National Bank or First Financial Bank. Please join us in a moment's silence in honor of Deputy Davis. Thank you. And we will now move on to department updates. Ms. Cottle, do you have anything for us today?
No. I am here. Let me see if I can get the camera to come on around. All right, very good. All right. So I do have a few things that I wanted to share with you today. As people look at that 2-metric advisory map on the state's website, you will see that we have returned to yellow advisory. We talked about this a little bit last week, and that we expected that we may, based on our increase in cases. Per 100,000, we are going to be around 128 today, and that is almost double of what we had been a month ago. On February 3rd, our cases were 171 per 100,000 people. On March 3rd, they were 63 per 100,000 people, and today they are going to be about 128 per 100,000. So we are definitely going in the wrong direction. Again, on February 3rd, our average daily positivity rate was in the 30s. In the 1st of March, it was in the teens, and it is back in the mid-20s now. Our positivity rate at the 1st of February was 2.5%. The 1st of March, it was 0.6%. Yesterday was 0.9%. So that is still a small number in terms of the positivity rate, but it is, again, going up. And I'm most concerned about the community spread that we're seeing with those increasing cases. So as the state has said that the mask mandate and many of the restrictions in the executive order will go away next week. They will not go away in Monroe County. Our current regulations will stay in place based on this information and the cases that we are seeing. The Board of Health does meet on April 6th, and they will discuss the regulations as always, determine how they want to look at those and what we want to do. The governor does have a press conference this afternoon. I do not know if he will make a change to that, given the state, Indiana, and the states around us that all have increasing numbers. So that is concerning. We're just really coming into post-basketball spring break kind of activity. And so while I want these numbers to drop, I'm not hopeful that they're going to drop immediately, but that's our goal. And we need people to continue to wear their masks, distance, continue to get vaccinated as you can, continue to make those appointments. That is part of the solution. But masking, distancing, hand washing, all those things we've been talking about are still part of that solution as well. In terms of vaccination, Indiana has surpassed 1 million Hoosiers who are fully vaccinated. Again, we are doing a good job in that realm. There's 2.7 million doses that have been administered. So that's first and second doses. As of today, anyone 16 and over is eligible for vaccination. I do want to note that 16 and 17-year-olds may only get Pfizer vaccine. So when someone is looking for a vaccine site, they'll need to make sure if they are 16 or 17 years old that they are going to a site that has the Pfizer vaccine. People need to bring proof of age, so a driver's license, birth certificate, letter from a doctor, something with their date of birth on it in order to be vaccinated. And for 16 and 17-year-olds, there is an attestation for parents to give consent for that. So those are the main things that I wanted to share today. We do our clinic at IU at Simon Scott Assembly Hall is going very well. We're looking to ramp that up and hopefully get more vaccines so we can open it up and have more appointments there. As a state, the state is working with colleges and universities to help get vaccine to students that they have in their populations. Large businesses are getting ready to expand and be brought in to do their employees. So as vaccine continues to come in, and that will continue to be shared throughout the communities. And my hope is that by June, it will be pretty easy to get vaccinated if you've not already been. And April and May are going to be very, very busy months with big vaccine clinics and trying to get that done.
Thank you. Commissioner Gibbons, do you have any comments or questions?
No, I am dismayed by the numbers for sure, and I hope it's not a result of people relaxing over spring break because that's when we would start to see those things increase. But thank you, Ms. Cottle.
Yes, I implore everyone to please continue to follow the COVID protocols. If we want to get out from under this situation, it's going to be necessary that people cooperate and really do their best to help us all reach a good, positive outcome. Thank you.
You can do it.
Thank you, Ms. Cottle. We appreciate you and your staff and know they've been going full out for over a year now. And next up is Ms. Allison Moore from Emergency Management.
Good morning. My video is not working properly this morning, but can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. I'd like to start with just sending our condolences to the Sheriff's Department and the family of deputy drivers. It has been a very challenging week for public safety. And I am so impressed with how much love that have played a role in the process of this very challenging week. And so I'd like to just start with continuing from our office to spread love and appreciate all the efforts that our community has joined in coming together during this tragedy. I also am super excited about the community and the role that they have played in our blood drives. You know, I know every week I announce those dates and when we have spots available and when they're starting to fill up and the like. Every month that we have these drives, I get a report back from the Red Cross, and I'm just continued to be blown away. Every single spot we have ever had since we started these drives have been filled. I'd like to extend my gratitude to Commissioner Githens, as she was one that was able to make a donation for us in March. And I also know there was a couple staff members that were also within the community that were able to make those blood donations. And we continue to have those scheduled on our website through the month of June. And if you are interested or something that you can make a donation for, I challenge you to go to our county website at co.monroe.in.us and make your appointment. April is filling up already, but we do still have spots available. And so I encourage you to go see what dates might work for you and then hop we are still in the month of tornado recovery. As we started in January, we're targeting every month a certain preparedness topic. And so March, this is our last week for March, and we are in tornado preparedness month. And as we know, we've had some sketchy weather these last couple of weeks. And so hopefully your family has been able to practice what we have been able to share with you every week and in regards of tornado recovery. And just this last week, I just challenge you to make sure that you have a family plan for rejoining after a tornado may hit. So things to think about are, how would you get back up on your feet? Do you have all of your insurance papers readily available? And how would your family rejoin and restart? So things to immediate family, and then of course those friends and family that you may be in fact helping take care of. So I challenge families, and Monroe will have a great plan in place prior to a tornado hitting your home or your neighborhood. I do want the commissioners to know we have one siren down. Last week we had a pretty big windstorm on Thursday, and we had Oaks tornado siren. So we are in the process of getting those new tornado equipment, such as it's not completely down, some new parts to make it work properly. So we are in the process of that. We do have a tornado siren test on Friday. That siren will not be ready to be activated for Friday. So if you are in that area, you will not hear that tornado siren. And a few weeks, it is a process to order that equipment. And so we are on it. And as soon as we can get it, we will. And so we encourage residents that are in that Sherwood Oaks area to be more mindful of having an application on their phone for any type of weather-related events, such as our Monroe County Alert system, where they can register for that on the county website as well, as they will not have that tornado siren activated in the event of a real tornado or any test. And that is all I currently have, unless you have questions for me.
Thank you. Commissioner Githens, do you have any questions or comments?
I was just going to ask how quickly that particular siren might be up and working again.
So I'm hoping to hear back from a company in Greenwood where we can get that antenna today. It's been a challenge getting one of the parts. And so I don't have a time frame for you. Hopefully we'll get a better time frame later today. I'm hoping that we can actually travel up and pick it up instead of getting it shipped so we can get it here sooner. Our vendor that we use is willing to, as soon as we get those parts, get them up and running the day of. So we're just working on, at this point, securing the parts we need, which have been a little challenging, but hopefully we'll get an answer later today, and we're hoping we'll get those supplies next week and can start working on getting it back up and running.
Knowing you, Allison, I'm surprised you're not up there, climbing up there, taking care of it yourself.
Yep. Thank you so much for your tornado preparedness information. This is getting to be that season, and it's something we should all be thinking about right now. Thank you, Ms. Moore. We appreciate you and your deputy. You also have been going full out for over a year now, and it's been pretty amazing. And next we have Highway, Ms. Ridge.
Good morning. Not a lot to report. I'll keep it short. Looks like you guys have a pretty good agenda. But basically, we're just preparing the roads for upcoming paving season, doing ditching, doing tree trimming, filling potholes. So that's pretty much what we're doing right now. So we do still encourage anybody to report anything on our website if they have any hazard to report, whether it be pothole or low limbs over the roadway, and we'll put it in as a request. So that's all I have, unless you have something.
Thank you. Commissioner Gibbons?
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to say that I've been seeing patched potholes everywhere I go, and thank you to you and the crew. It certainly has been a hard year on the roads, and we appreciate the work you're doing to keep them passable.
I appreciate that, and I will pass that along to the crews. They are some of the crews that continuously worked through the pandemic. It might have been a small crew, but we still had a crew out there to address anything that came up from day one. So kudos to all of them out there for sticking with us and doing a great job last year. So.
Yes, certainly everyone in county government has really been putting out for this past
Absolutely.
year. And
Yep.
The highway crew has been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And are there any other department updates? Ms. Dayton, you may have to help me a bit with this. I'm not used to keeping track of all of this.
No worries. If anyone who needs a department update could raise their hand, I will happily promote them. All right, looks like we're good.
Thank you. And next up, we have public comment, which is for items that are not on the agenda. It's limited to 3 minutes, and after 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you'll hear this tone. Thank you. That'll mean you have 30 seconds left to finish what you have to say. And as we go through our agenda items, the public comment time will be the same. And do we have any public comment?
We have one with Jim Shelton.
Mr. Shelton.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Shelton with the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce, but speaking this morning on behalf of the Court-Appointed Special Advocates, or CASA program. CASA wants to bring to your attention and the public's attention that National Child Abuse Prevention Month starts tomorrow. So it runs the entire month of April. There'll be a number of events in our community to try to help people be aware of this so that they can help report problems and hopefully volunteer to help deal with those problems. One of the ways they can volunteer is to become a CASA. CASAs are volunteers who work with the children who are in the court system because they've been abused or neglected. As a measure of how big a problem this is in our community, so far in 2021, the first quarter, there have been 310 children served by CASAs. This has been distributed across 170 cases, so we're averaging just under 2 children per case. We have 133 volunteers right now who are active as CASAs. And at the end of the quarter, we had 31 children waiting for CASAs. So if this is something that folks are interested in, this is good timing because CASA will have their spring training starting June 7th. I guess you could consider it a summer training. It'll run June 7th through June 30th via Zoom. It'll cover things like the roles and responsibilities of CASAs, family dynamics of abuse and neglect, because there are patterns to these problems, Indiana child protection law, how to interact with families, with the Department of Child Service case managers and other professionals, and then the always hated report writing step. So if this is something that you think you might be able to help with our community, you can contact CASA at 333-2272 or go on monroecountycasa.org website, click on the volunteer link, and you'll be able to find a frequently asked questions page and get a bunch of info that might help you decide if this is a good fit for you. Or on April 16th from 11 to 4:30, the Department of Child Services and CASA will have a joint tabling event in the DCS parking lot on Curry Pike, which is the same parking lot for the Department of Motor Vehicles, if that helps you know where it is. You can stop by and talk to some CASAs and DCS case managers and find out a little bit more about what it's really like to help these children who, through no fault of their own, through their parents' fault, are in the court system, typically for about 2 years to resolve a case. So please think about that out there. You've got about 7 or 8 weeks before applications will be due for you to learn more about it. So thanks for the opportunity to share that.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Is there any other public comment?
There are no other hands raised.
Thank you. Commissioner Githens, would you like to make a motion about the agenda?
Yes, I move to remove item E from the agenda today. This is concerning the enterprise fleet management agreement.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Cockrell, would you please, is this something that there should be public comment on? Mr. Cockrell?
I don't think we typically do public comment on agenda changes.
Okay, thank you. If you could please call the roll.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Githens?
Yes.
Motion is approved 2-0.
Thank you. And at this time, I would like to profusely apologize. I'm afraid I did not give the correct name for our fallen deputy, which I actually did know. I don't know why the wrong name came out of my mouth, maybe because it was a rather emotional moment, but it is Deputy James Driver, who we are mourning at this time. And we will now move on to our regular agenda. Commissioner Githens?
Yes. Move approval of the minutes from March 24th, 2021.
Second. Mr. Cockrell, we have a motion and a second. Would you please call the roll?
If this is for the minutes, we do typically ask for public comment on the minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Is there any public comment on the minutes?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you. Now could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Githens?
Yes.
Motion is approved 2-0.
Thank you. Next item.
Move approval of the claims docket, accounts payable, March 31st, 2021.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Do you have any comments or questions, Commissioner Githens?
No.
Mr. Miller? Or, oh, I'm sorry, is Ms. Sensenstein is taking his place. We have to congratulate Mr. Miller, who has had an addition to his family. I believe it was over the weekend. And
Yes.
yeah.
Good morning, commissioners. I'm filling in for Jordan. He's getting a little rest this morning. I think they just came home from the hospital yesterday. So he will resume his duties here shortly. But I'm going to present to you the claims. So the total was $1,071,241.88. And some of the large items were food and beverage tax for March, which was $219,968.97. The convention center quarterly loan payment was $159,000. The innkeeper's tax for March was $140,641.26. And then our anthem payment last week was $138,355.23.
Thank you. Now, do you have any questions or comments, Ms. Commissioner Givens?
No, when I was going through it, I was amazed that there were like checks written for 93 cents and things like that.
Yeah. Yes, we have to be very precise, don't we? All right. Is there any public comment on this item?
No hands raised.
Thank you. Mr. Cockrell, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we will move on to new business. Commissioner Givens?
Yes, move to approve Lamar Agreement for Youth Services Bureau, fund name Runaway Homeless Professional Services, fund number 8120-30013-9621, in the amount of $8,300.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Nasby, would you like to tell us more about this?
Sure. Good morning, commissioners. Again, just for record, I'm Bridget Nasby, Shelter Outreach and Safe Place Coordinator for Youth Services Bureau. First and foremost, from YSB, we just want to extend our deepest condolences to the Monroe County Sheriff's Department and the friends and family of Reserve Deputy Driver. That affects us all, and we just want to share that. I also just quickly want to show appreciation for CASA. I'm glad that someone was here today, so I'm hoping people are thinking about that. They can provide an invaluable community service for our youth. So I hope some people will be applying to help in those regards. But in regards to Lamar Billboards, which is the agreement we're working on now, I know I have a few items today. We're again working with them to promote the Safe Place program. Billboards will be placed in Greene and Owen counties per the objective for our rural focus in the Runaway and Homeless Youth Grant. We do serve Owen and Greene counties. Lamar does give YSB a goodwill rate, so we are fortunate for that. And these boards are preemptible, which means they can be moved at any time within the given market. If Lamar sells the location they are on, I've seen them firsthand. I've been pretty fortunate. They've usually stayed mostly where they are, and they're in very good positions for a lot of views. We typically project around over 100,000 views of the billboards in those counties. On our service dates this year, we're starting a new campaign September 6th of 21, and it'll run through September 4th of 2022.
Thank you. Do you have any comments or questions, Ms. Givens?
No, but I think it's important to point out that YSB serves not only Monroe County, but youth in the whole region.
We do, and specifically for Safe Place, we do run a 3-county program, so we do cover Monroe, but we also cover Owen and Greene counties as part of this specific program, and then our other services do the 6 surrounding counties, included with Monroe.
Thank you. The runaway youth, I cannot say how important this program is. It really does a lot to keep our children safer in this community. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And is there any public comment on this?
No hands raised.
Thank you. And we will have a roll call vote on the Lamar agreement for the Youth Services Bureau.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes,
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 2-0.
thank you. And next item, please.
Move to approve sponsorship contracts with the City of Bloomington for Youth Services Bureau. Fund name Safe Place Outreach, fund number 9103-30058-9621 in the amount of $4,900.
Second. And Ms. Nasby, I believe this is you again.
Yes, we'll just keep talking. So these are 8 separate contracts we have with the city, all one, with just one entity. But they expand the visibility of, again, the Safe Place program and our services here at YSB. And these contracts, again, I just want to emphasize, they use our Runaway and Homeless Youth grant funding. So that's where the money is coming from. But each one of these contracts and sponsorships is either promoting a social community event or youth activities. But I do want to comment that I've been very, very impressed with the City Parks Department in their efforts to continue offering safe, socially distant events for families during this time. They continue to follow safety guidelines to keep our community healthy and well, while also trying to create opportunities for connection and fun things to do in our community in the safest possible way. And I know, Commissioner Githens, you had talked to me earlier about what to do should things change and we have to do events get canceled, so on and so forth. So with the city, I was really fortunate last year. They were working with me on each individual contract. We kind of assess what the options are at that time should the event be canceled. We've done credits and we've done refunds for those events and sponsorships should they shift in a way that needs to keep people safe, which requires the canceling of an event. So I wanted to make sure to answer that as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Githens.
No, but I do appreciate the fact that these are at high visible places where youth and their families are expected to attend. And sometimes too, we forget that it's not necessarily the youth that sees it that needs the help. It may be one of their friends. They have strong social networks. And so the fact that it spreads more than just to the folks who see it that day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Youth are my strongest advocates.
Thank you. And I'd also like to thank the City of Bloomington Parks and Rec Department for helping us out with this very important effort. And is there any public comment on this item?
No hands raised.
Thank you. Then Mr. Cockrell, would you please call the roll on the sponsorship contracts with the City of Bloomington for the Youth Services Bureau?
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 2-0.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Move to approve Owen County Fair Booth Contract for Youth Services Bureau. No fund name, number, or amount.
Second. And Ms. Nasby.
This is the last one, I promise, for this week anyway. So this again is just a booth rental contract to secure vendor space at the fair. They are still planning to have the fair just like in Monroe County. This event reaches hundreds of youth in Owen County. It's another bigger event we have there that we can actually talk to kids as well. So their fair will be taking place July 3rd through the 10th. So it backs up right against Monroe County Fair. But for 2021, there's no fund name because we received a credit from last year. Since the fair did not take place, we won't have to actually pay a booth rental fee this year. I did want to comment on the fact that we're starting to get back into public events and what that means. So here at YSB, all county and state health department guidelines are followed and will continue to be followed by our staff. And our booth, when we go out into public events, will only provide information for attendees to take at will. So if you've seen my booth before, a lot of times we have games and we have things that we interact. That will be very minimal moving forward, but we'll just continue to maintain a presence at these events. So again, it's just that visibility. It's making sure people remember that the program is there, our services are there. And we will only have one staff member, myself, who will be tending events. And we'll also look at what it looks like when I come back into the office and so on and so forth. Fortunately, we've been able to have vaccines offered to us. And so we're still moving forward and continuing to kind of re-engage in the community and making sure kids know about the program.
Thank you. Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, it's amazing how far out you're planning these things too.
Yeah, I'm actually planning them slower than I typically do, but we've got to go with what we have at the time. So that's why you're seeing me more this year. We're just getting things as we can and figure them out, how we can do them safely.
Yes, it's wonderful that these various entities are working with you as to whether or not the events will actually happen, and actually gave you credit for last year. That was very nice.
Yes.
So hopefully we can keep this going.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you. Mr. Cockrell, would you please call the roll on the Owen County Fair Booth contract for the Youth Services Bureau?
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Githens?
Yes, move to approve renewal of Everbridge Amendment, fund name Cumulative Capital Development, fund number 1138 in the amount of $107,084.25.
Second. Ms. Moore, you're back with us again.
I am. It is hard to believe. It's been 3 years since I presented the Everbridge contract. We normally do 3-year contracts with them, and it is up for renewal. There are no changes to our current contract from what we currently have. They do their pricing a bit different now. It's based on how many messages we send out, but we are thousands and thousands less than what we for this price. So I have no problem endorsing the quote that you have in front of you. It has been a wonderful company to work with, and their customer service has been phenomenal. We've really started using this notification system much more this year through COVID. And because of that, we had to do things a bit different, and they were so willing to step in, assist our office with various things that we needed to make messages go out a little differently than what we might do for our weather events. This is for the next 3 years. And if anything we want to add along the way, we are always able to do that as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Githens?
No, I get a lot of these alerts. I get them on my computer. I get them on my phone. I appreciate them.
Yeah, we do get a lot of them, but it sure is a valuable thing for the community. It really helps people know exactly what they need to watch out for. So thank you very much. Is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you. Then Mr. Cockrell, would you please call the roll on the renewal of the Everbridge agreement?
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 2-0.
And I'd just like to say thank you to the Board of Commissioners. It's not something that you have to approve. It's an additional service that we offer to our community. And I know that I'm grateful, and Monroe County residents are safer because of that motion. So thank you.
Thank you for arranging this for the county. It's certainly been a valuable addition. And next item, please.
Move to approve ordinance 2021-08, the Frazo rezone.
Second. And Ms. Casilius?
Does not appear to be on Zoom meeting.
Oh, is there anyone from planning here? I guess I'm not quite sure how to proceed at this point.
I'm across the hall from them. Do you want me to run over there real quick?
Maybe if you could do that.
Okay. Give me just a second.
And I don't really know the protocol for this. Can we move on to the next item, Mr. Cockrell?
I think you can.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, item G, move to approve resolution 2021-16 regarding housing as a human right.
Second, and I believe we have Ms. Meyerson here to tell us about this.
Yes, thank you for your time this morning to the commissioners. My name is Deborah Meyerson. I'm a member of the Monroe County Affordable Housing Advisory Commission and past vice chair. Joining me today also from the commission is Kathy Crabtree, current chair, and Vox Booker, commission member and past chair. The Affordable Housing Advisory Commission, in collaboration with the Monroe County Human Rights Commission, is pleased to recommend for the commissioners' adoption Resolution 2021-16 regarding housing as a human right. The commissioners' timely adoption of this resolution is even more resonant than ever when the pandemic is creating even more housing instability for many members of our community. And I will invite, again, Affordable Housing Advisory Commission member Vox Booker to read the recommended resolution to the commissioners.
Good morning, commissioners. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
It's a great honor to read this resolution in. A resolution that Monroe County recognizes housing as a human right. By recognizing housing as a basic human right, this resolution established a vision for a community that empowers people of all ages, abilities, income, and identities with access to safe and stable housing so that they may live and thrive in Monroe County. Whereas safe and affordable housing equates to better health outcomes, while households who are cost burden cannot adequately spend money on nutritious food and healthcare costs, bringing down healthcare outcomes and impeding child development. Whereas the availability of affordable housing supports vulnerable populations, prevents crowding, limits exposure to environmental toxins, and increases the feasibility of escape and survival from domestic violence. Whereas studies show that stable, long-term housing is the single most important factor in a person's ability to recover from struggles with employment, substance abuse, and mental or physical illness. Whereas unemployment, poverty, and housing instability are broader systemic issues. Whereas affordable and accessible housing promotes opportunities for increased independence for people with disabilities. Whereas unstable housing causes children to suffer from slow development, emotional difficulties, and underachievement in education. Whereas the lack of affordable housing will ripple through our community for generations, not only in health outcomes, but also financial impacts. Whereas the Monroe County Human Rights Ordinance promotes equal opportunity in employment, housing, education, and access to public accommodation, regardless of race, religion, color, sex, national origin, ancestry, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, housing status, or status as a veteran, and prohibits familial status discrimination in housing. Whereas the human right to housing includes legal security of tenure, availability of services and infrastructure, affordability, habitability, accessibility, location, and cultural adequacy. Now let it therefore be resolved that Monroe County is committed to the advancement of fair and affordable housing and in furthering County Code 520, the Human Rights Ordinance, and County Ordinance 2018-20, establishing the Affordable Housing Advisory Commission. Monroe County joins other jurisdictions across the nation in declaring housing as a human right. In doing so, Monroe County commits to the goal of safe, decent, healthy, sustainable, and accessible housing for all residents and to the objectives and policies that accompany said goal.
Thank you. Commissioner Githens.
Yes, although Commissioner Thomas isn't here with us today, she asked specifically that we let people know that she is also in support of this resolution. That's important. And I want to thank the Affordable Housing Commission for their work on this. They didn't just sit back. They kept pushing, they kept talking, they kept doing things. They're pretty tireless.
Yes, I also would like to thank the Affordable Housing Commission. During this time of COVID, it's been made so clear just how dangerous homelessness can be, both for the homeless and for society. It is well known that the best outcomes for disadvantaged people come about when they are in stable housing. In our modern society, it should not be so difficult to make sure that everyone has a place where they can feel secure. Once people feel secure, it is much easier for them to solve any other problems they have. So this is a truly important effort, and I hope that we can be successful in housing at least the vast majority of our community. Thank you. And at this time, is there any public comment on this?
No hands raised.
Thank you. Then, Mr. Cockrell, would you please call the roll on Resolution 2021-16 regarding housing as a human right?
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 2-0.
Thank you very much for having brought this forward. And
Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, commissioners. Good morning.
Good morning. And now we will return to item F, which we do have a motion in a second. Is Ms. Crecelius available?
Hi, sorry for the delay.
That's okay. What do you have for us today?
Sure. So can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So we spoke about this last week at the work session. This is ordinance 2021-08 for Frazo rezone. So this request is for a petition site located in Bennett South Township off of North Brummets Creek Road. So there are 3 parcels here over 61 acres. We're looking at one parcel for a rezone kind of zoning kind of correction that would change the zoning for 3.7 acres out of 61 acres. So this is currently how the lots are shown on Elevate and GIS. The petitioners had applied for a sliding scale subdivision last year in October, and the surveyor discovered that these 2 small lots shown here as Lot 2 and Lot 3 are actually not spaced apart. They share an adjoining boundary, the kind of southeastern boundary. So they're right next to each other, both of which have small homes on them. But the parcel layer has always shown them separated. Even in the 1997 zoning map, we see these 2 parcels separate, and they're both zoned ER, which in this area, there's just a couple of small lots that were zoned estate residential, which have a minimum lot size requirement of 1 acre. So that's consistent zoning and lot size. But for some reason, both of these homes were built at the same time, but for some reason, the zoning and the parcels show up as them being separated. So since we know that the lots are directly adjacent, which is consistent, that leaves this lot 1 having a 1 acre patch of estate residential. And then on the south side, all a part of the same lot 1 is another 2.7 acres that are also zoned estate residential. And this stopped them from being able to pursue a sliding scale subdivision on the 61 acre lot because of the split zoning. So what they're proposing to do which is more consistent with our ordinance and what we kind of expect, is that the large lot would be completely and fully zoned agricultural rural reserve, and the 2 small lots that are already developed with single-family residential homes are estate residential. So the Monroe County Planning Commission forwarded a positive recommendation. Again, the rezone is for 1 lot of 61 acres, changing 3.7 acres of estate residential to agricultural rural reserve. Does anybody have any questions?
Commissioner Gibbons?
No, I'm glad that we're getting this properly zoned, it sounds like at this point.
Yeah, it's not unknown for us to discover these things once in a while, and it's always good to get them corrected, and certainly what's happening now makes a lot more sense than the way it was. So I have no problems at all with this petition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment on this?
No hands raised.
Thank you. Then Mr. Cockrell, would you please call the roll on ordinance 2021-08, Frazo rezoned?
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gibbons?
Move to approve ratification of a memorandum of understanding with Indiana University regarding the prophylaxis during public health emergency.
Second. And Ms. Rice?
Hi, I'm here, and so is Penny Cottle, and I think I'm going to let Penny Cottle speak to this. I will just introduce it. This is the ratification of the MOU that you reviewed last week and approved, so that Assembly Hall, Simon Scott Assembly Hall, can be a site for delivering the vaccine. You had a couple of follow-up questions that Penny and I have talked about. One was regarding a backup generator, and one was regarding volunteers and who would be working at the clinic. And I think that Penny can address the volunteer issue. I did talk with the attorney from IU, and they said that that language was included in the Floyd County agreement, which I mentioned to you. They used a template of Floyd County. IU has a more active role in this, in the plan here in Monroe County than they did have in Floyd County. So they definitely, he assured us that he definitely has plans to keep the vaccine refrigerated and frozen as needed, and so that they will have a backup plan, a backup generator. So I think that addresses that one. And Penny, did you want to talk a little bit about who's volunteering and who's working at the clinic?
Certainly. So the university is using their events teams to do a lot of their mitigation testing, but also to do this site clinic. But we are also using staff and our Medical Reserve Corps volunteers. So volunteers still have an opportunity to work at the vaccination site at Assembly Hall. So we're very happy. I was there on Monday, and it seemed slow because it's set up for a large number and already kind of set up for, for expansion. But going very, very smoothly. Signage is wonderful. I have to say, you pull in and you just go, wow, the resources here are amazing. And we're very pleased to have them as a partner for this endeavor. And I think it will help us as a community be able to expand our vaccination efforts.
Thank you. Do you have any comments or questions, Commissioner Gibbons?
Well, I want to thank Ms. Rice and Ms. Cottle for following up on our questions from last week, but also IU has been a tremendous partner, absolutely tremendous partner throughout all this. And I was out over the weekend, and yes, or maybe it was yesterday. Yes, there's signage up on the bypass about parking. I mean, they were ready to move on this. It's just, wow, it feels so good.
Yeah, IU really has been amazing throughout the entire pandemic. They worked very closely, especially with Ms. Cottle, and it has made a big difference for us. Is there any public comment on this item?
No hands raised.
All right, then Mr. Cockrell, if you would please call the roll on ratification of the MOU with Indiana University.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes,
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 2-0.
thank you. Next
Thank
item,
you.
please. Thank you.
Move to approve awarding of the 2021 Bituminous material bid, fund name Motor Vehicle Highway, fund number 1176, and an amount that's not applicable.
Thank you. Ms. Ridge? Oh, second, I'm sorry. Ms. Ridge?
Morning again. So we did open bids. They were advertised according to Indiana code. The sealed bids were open on March 18, 2021 on a public Zoom meeting by highway staff. We would like to award the asphalt material supplied to both EMB Paving and Milestone Contractors, the two bidders. This is in accordance with Indiana Code 36-1-12-4, allowing us to award to more than one supplier. The closest and most cost-effective supplier will be used in relation to the location of the project and material availability.
Thank you. Ms. Gibbons?
I so appreciate how Ms. Ridge looks out for every cent that the highway department spends. I mean, you know, this group is closer to the northern part of the county. This group is closer to the southern part. And so she makes use of that.
Yeah, it's a great group that we have, and it works out really well to be able to do that, because we could be working in by Lake Lemon, and you know it wouldn't be feasible to drive to Springville to get some asphalt when we could go out on Ord Road, or you know if we're in Springville area we can go straight to Milestone. So it works out great.
Yeah, it's always good news to see the purchase of Bituminous. It means that our roads will be getting better, and that's
Absolutely
a great thing. Is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you. Seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, would you please call the roll on awarding the 2021 Bituminous material bid?
Commissioner Jones,
Yes,
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 2-0.
thank you. And next item, please.
Move to approve American Structure Point, Inc. for Fullerton Pike Phase 3 project. Fund name Local Road and Street, fund number 1169, in the amount of $137,935.
Second. And
this is for our Fullerton Pike Phase 3. This is basically so we can start right-of-way acquisition with the design and everything being almost probably 60% complete. I had presented an amendment 1 back in January 2021, and I had put land acquisition on the front of that. I just want to make sure that you know you are only doing land acquisition on this one. So it wasn't approving 2 contracts. The other one was for design work, and this one I did not attach. So there was not one for land acquisition in January. This was the first land acquisition that you are approving or considering.
Thank you. Yes. Commissioner Gibbons?
I looked over things. It seemed pretty straightforward. You have got everything detailed out there.
Yeah, I think we have about 13 property owners for this part of the project. So not as many as we've had in the past. So that's always good.
Yeah, it's going to seem pretty amazing once we stop hearing about Fullerton Pike. It's all done, and
we're getting there.
We are. It's taken a while, but it's getting closer.
Yeah.
Is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you. Then Mr. Cockrell, would you please call the roll on American American Structure Point, Inc. for Fullerton Pike Phase 3 project.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 2-0.
Thank you. And that brings us to an end of our new business, and we have no appointments for today, but we are accepting applications for all boards and commissions. You can go to co.monroe.in.us to find the application, and there's more information on the boards and commissions on our website also. All Monroe County government offices will be closed this Monday, April 5th, 2021. And let me see here. Oh, I have more announcements that I need to find. Well, I'm sorry. Well, I don't have my script for the rest of the announcements, but I do know that we are taking, today is the final day for the applications for CARES money that we will be giving out in April, but we will continue to accept applications until the end of May. So if you have a need, please go to our website at co.monroe.in.us, where you can find the application, and we'll see how things can work out for you. And I also want to comment that we worked heavily with the council to make money available to all of the Monroe County trustees to help any individuals who are having difficulties paying their bills, their mortgage, their utilities, and the necessities of life. Everyone does have a township trustee, whether you live in the city or the county, and you can find out who your trustee is by going to our website, where you'll find it in the emergency management page. And I'm sorry, Commissioner Githens, can you think if there are any other announcements that I was to make today?
No, but I would like to say that I was in a meeting earlier this week and somebody said, what can we do if we want to help, others in our community? And we heard earlier that there had been someone who had gone into the Washington Township trustee office and paid off the outstanding water bills for people there. And so I think that if you want to help, there are ways to do that, that make a difference in our own community. Personally, and I think I speak for both Commissioner Jones and for Commissioner Thomas, I'm going to tear up here. I want to thank Mary Elfman for her many years of service as our Veteran Service Officer. She has been outstanding. She has created great links within the veterans community, and our county's better off for the work she has done. I'm really sad she's leaving. I understand why, but today is her final day in the position. We are looking for her successor. I've told her I'm not going to call it her replacement because she's going to be hard to replace. But yeah, we want to say thank you, Mary.
Yes, we certainly do. Mary has been really a joy to work with, and I think that everyone in the county has appreciated her being in her position. It is going to be hard to replace her, but I guess we will just think of it as a successor and not a replacement. Do you have anything further, Commissioner Githens?
No, I just want to, again, extend condolences to the family of James Driver and remind folks that they can help again through the Indiana Fallen Heroes Foundation. That is a 501c3 operation. Also, all of the money that's donated to a given family goes to that family, whether it's to help with funeral expenses or other things. We have information posted on our Monroe County website for people to get that information. And the Monroe County Sheriff's Facebook page also has information about how you can make those donations if you choose.
Yes. Yes, and our thoughts and prayers are with Deputy Driver's family. It's just very, very sad. And with that, we are adjourned.